internet, I'm Shannon. Today I've got a book tag video for you guys. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year freak out book tag. Basically this tag is a check-in to kind of see where you're at, how your year of reading's been going so far. I've seen a few of my friends on YouTube do this tag and I wanted to do it too. So basically so far this year I have read 13 books. I'm not as fast of a reader as some of you guys, but you know, 13, I think that's pretty decent so far for the year. So let's just jump on into the questions. Question number one, the best book you've read so far in 2021. That would be, I think, and this is difficult because of pretty much all of the books I've read so far this year I've really enjoyed. But I think I'm going to go with The Drowning Kind by Jennifer McMahon. This was a really intense story about sisters. I always have a soft spot for stories about sisters, probably because I have a sister, and this book was amazing. It's got a touch of sort of magical realism to it, and it's dark, but it's beautiful, and I loved the different time periods. I loved how the stories were woven together, and I think this is the best book I've read so far in 2021. All right, question number two, the best sequel you've read so far in 2021. This is gonna be a quick answer because I have not read any sequels in 2021. Not a single one. I don't often read books that are series that are part of a series, and I've read no sequels this year. Question number three, new release you haven't read yet but want to. That's an easy one. This book didn't come out in 2021. It came out in 2020, I believe, but it's The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I picked this one up a couple weeks ago and I can't wait to start reading it. I'm going to start reading it this week. But from the looks of it, this is going to be a book I love. And I love everything that I've read by Matt in the past. And I love Matt in general. I follow him on social media. I love the things that he shares, the way that he expresses himself. It's very beautiful and I can't wait to read this. All right, number four, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. This is gonna sound bad, especially for someone who spends so much time reading and talking about books and talking about writers, but I'm really bad at knowing what's coming out ahead of time, unless it's a writer that I follow very closely. So I'm going to say for that, probably the Lisa Jewell book that will be coming out in, I think, the fall, and I only know that's coming because she puts out a book every year. I could also probably say whatever Stephen King book comes out this year. Because they're just consistent yearly releasers. But other than that, I don't know what their titles are. And I'm just really bad at knowing ahead of time what books are coming out. Once they're out, I hear about them. But before that, I just don't know. Okay, question number five. Biggest disappointment. I'm gonna have to give that one to The Sanatorium. Yeah, The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. This wasn't a bad book by any means. I had such high hopes for it and it didn't quite hit the mark for me. Like I said in the review of this book, I'm sure someone's gonna read it and they're gonna be like, this is my favorite book. Just for me, it was a disappointment. But again, not a bad book, just not my thing. Basically, it's about this group that go to an new luxury hotel that used to be an old school sanatorium, and some really weird things start happening. I really thought there was going to be more of sort of the supernatural here, but there just wasn't. Just wasn't that kind of story at all, which is fine. Just was a disappointment for me personally. Question number six, biggest surprise. Okay. I have two answers for that. But the next question, I'm going to save one of the books for that one because it also sort of fits there. But for me, the biggest surprise was The Push by Ashley Audrain. I loved this book. I loved it a lot. And I didn't have any sort of high expectations for it. I just kind of picked it up. thought it was just going to be like sort of a typical thriller, but for me, it took it to a whole new level, and it was really intense. It's really dark, and it has an ending that, while the ending's not really a twist per se, like it's not a surprise ending, it's an ending that leaves you wanting more, and it kind of left me feeling like, that's it? You're not going to tell us the rest of it, or you're not going to tell us what happens next, because it ends kind of on something big happens. But again, it's not a twist. It's not a surprise. Anyone reading the book, you know, you're not surprised by what happens, but I want to kind of know the details. I don't know why. You don't really need them. But yeah, that said, I loved this. I thought it was a great story. It was well told, and I look forward to what this author writes next. Question number 7, favorite new author, either their debut book or new to you. I'm going to give that to It Will Just Be Us and Joe Kaplan. If you saw my review on this book, you know how much I loved it. This was the book that could have also been in the surprise question from before, because again, I didn't really know what it was going to be, and I picked it up, and I loved it. In that review, I say this might be one of my all-time favorite horror novels, and I stand by that. This was so good. Joe Kaplan is a beautiful writer. The way she spins this story, I love it. I love it. And it's a haunted house story, but it's so much more than that. It's very dark, but it's beautifully written, and I just loved it so much. And I wish I could reread it again for the first time. It's one of those books, but nevertheless, I can't wait to reread it. Anyway, I'm going to save this for the fall and reread it, but it's such a great book, and I cannot wait to see what comes next from Joe Kaplan. She's another one that I follow on social media, and we've had some exchanges back and forth, and I just think she's fantastic. Question number 8, newest fictional crush. Now, I won't say that I've never had a fictional crush, but lately the type of books that I read don't really lend themselves to crushes. A lot of the times they're about disturbed people doing disturbed things. So I haven't really had a fictional crush in a while, and certainly not in 2021, just because the kinds of books I read most generally don't have space for that, for me personally. Question number 9, newest favorite character. Actually, going back to It Will Just Be Us, I think it might be Sam from this book. I really liked her a lot, and yeah, I think we're gonna go with that one for this. Okay, question number 10, book that made you cry. Most of these did that at some point. Most of all the books I read in 2021 have made me cry at some point. But for this particular question, I think I'm going to go with Little Cruelties by Liz Nugent. I loved this book. This book is about 3 brothers. And I don't know, it just really, there were a few times it really struck a nerve with me. And yeah, basically it's about 3 brothers. At the beginning of the book, we learn that one of the brothers is dead. And then the rest of the book is kind of us waiting to find out which one is dead and how it happened. And we see all of their lives sort of unfolding from the past when they were boys up to present day. And this book had moments that really got to me. Okay, number 11, book that made you happy. On the flip side of what I just said, not a lot of these books are uplifting, feel good, make you happy kind of stories. I feel happy when I read a good book. So in that regard, all of them made me happy. But in terms of like what book made me happy because of the happy, uplifting content, none of them. I don't think. Yeah, I'm gonna go with none of them. But they all made me happy because they were great books, if you know what I'm saying. Number 12, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. I'm actually going to go with the answer that my friend Andrea at Je Suis Juste Moi, her channel, the answer she gave, because I also read that book. And okay, you know what? Actually, hold on. I would also say that this book made me happy. I think out of all of them, the most, this book made me happy. But I'm still gonna stick a little. Okay. Anyway. And that's The Lost Apothecary. Look how beautiful this is. I just love the color palette. Those colors together are also beautiful. I love the dark blues and purples with the bright pinks and fuchsias. Just so gorgeous. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, definitely going with The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. And this was a great book. It was a great book. Again, different time periods. And I just loved the story and the characters. I thought they were all great. Question number 13. What book do you need to read by the end of the year? The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. I have been carrying this book around for 3 years trying to read it. I am 77 pages into it, and this year is the year that I'm getting through it. I'm gonna read it in the fall because it's a scary, you know, a scary story. I actually found this book because I Googled like lists of top 10, top 20 scariest books. And this was on one of the lists, and I ordered it because of that. And I very much want to finish it. I hear every time I hear somebody talk about this book, they are raving about how much they love it. And the 77 pages that I've read so far, I have also really enjoyed. It's just that I keep getting distracted. But not this year, not this year, my friends. This year we are getting her finished. And I can't wait. Again, this is like a haunted house ghost story. My favorite. My favorite. All right, and the final question is number 14, favorite book community member. Now what a question. There are so many amazing book related YouTube channels out there. Off the top of my head, here are a few that I love, but by no means are these the only good ones. There are so many. So first of all, on a personal level, my friend Chloe has a lovely, wonderful booktube channel. Her channel name is Always Booked. I'm going to tag her channel in the description box below. Definitely go and check her out. I've mentioned her before. She does a lot of really great book hauls and unhauls and reading vlogs and just all kinds of really great book related content. Also, my friend Andrea, who I previously mentioned, she has more so of a vlog channel, but in those vlogs she talks a lot about books. She'll review books. She's also a writer, and she does a lot of vlog content about the books that she's writing. And you know, they'll be editing, and she has a lot of content about, because she's an indie publisher, and you know, the processes of editing and cover design and everything like that. And I just think if you are a book lover, or if you're someone who's aspiring to be an indie author, she has a wealth of information for you. In terms of bigger booktube channels, I love Read with Cindy. I always laugh out loud at her reviews. Another channel that I really love is Slanted Spines. I've done a bunch of her tag videos. I just think she's great. And I could go on all day, but we're just gonna leave it there with those four because I think they're personally some faves. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have book related content on your channel, I'd love to see you do this tag too. If not, let me know in the comments, you know, what's the best book you've read in 2021 so far. And I will see you guys again real soon with another book talk, probably I think on Wednesday. Bye guys.